activists highlighting their opposition to the framing of pro-Palestinian marches as threatening through to the Jewish communities. And they actually are only there in solidarity for the actual massacres of children that since the ceasefire was announced on Wednesday, over 130 people were actually killed up till today for the last 3 or 4 days, when it was just mainly women and children. Why are people not understanding that? That is not a Hamas supporter. We're not supporting terrorists. There are not mobs.
Let's talk about the Jewish community for a second, because you've pointed to a small minority of them who may have signed this letter. But, you know, anti-Semitism has gone up thousands of % since these protests started. So you can understand why perhaps there was a blockage of this outside and near a synagogue. Can you not sympathise with that?
Absolutely. I don't think any religious group should be targeted or should be threatened in any way. And those people should be arrested if that was what their intent was. And there is always going to be disruption and an isolated case where that happens. And the amount of people arrested, if they were outside the jurisdiction of how people should protest peacefully and calmly, accordance with the UK law, then that is absolutely okay. But it should not be deemed as everybody as being mobs or also Hamas supporters. Because if anything, there's the ministers of the Netanyahu administration who has actually accused Netanyahu's government and him for actually promoting and supporting Hamas in the first place, for them to be here.
Look, Peter, I want to bring you back in here. Suella Braverman's described these marches as hate marches before. Do you think that's a fair description of them to this day?
Unlike my co-debater this evening, I will stick to the matter in hand, which is whether these protests should take place or not. They have gone on now for almost 15 months. In the early days, the Met Police appallingly had a policy of appeasing so many on these protests. And when you appease people, you empower them. And we've seen the behaviour of the thugs attending this march just get worse and worse and worse, culminating today in 77 arrests for many, many offences, including assaults and one for sexual assault. And the behaviour is getting worse. It is time now to ban these marches. Their point has been made. The criminality is increasing. A ceasefire should come in place tomorrow. Enough is enough.
Fahima, look, I mean, Peter's got a good point. Like, these protests have been going on for a very, very long time. Surely the point has been made. The ceasefire is done. Are the pro-Palestine marches just going to become as much of a nuisance as Just Stop Oil? Because, you know, we're blocking roads. We're costing the taxpayer